now and then. Went to war and got shot dead.
Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Toast to the Art Show. We're super excited to have guitarist Jim Eannelli back on the show. And today he's here to talk about his new solo album. And it's actually his first album, which is hard to imagine because he's such a fixture in the music world. But this is one heck of an album. It's called Just Deserts, and you need to get it now. I'm just saying. It is out on record shops, the actual CDs. It's on streaming and download services, and it's even you can get it on Etsy. Not Etsy, excuse me, eBay.com. I never knew you could buy music on eBay. And you can also keep up with Jim on Facebook under Jim Eannelli. So welcome back, Jim. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's good to finally see you.
Yeah, I know. And how's Peggy?
Peggy's doing great. I think she's out doing
Awesome.
some gardening right now.
Oh, it's a nice day, right, to do that. That's
Oh, it's
awesome.
beautiful here. It's
I
75 and sunny, and it's just
Wow.
wonderful.
Milwaukee and sunny. Well, we keep going to Wisconsin now, but we have not gone to Milwaukee yet. We haven't touched and, set foot in Milwaukee yet, but we will do it. We will do it. We will.
Well,
We'll
you
get there.
should. Well, you should.
Yeah. Well,
And
we
I
will
have
get
to
there.
I have to point something out to you. The album, although it is spelled deserts, it's actually pronounced just desserts. And it's a
See?
funny twist because my nephew from Buffalo called me up and said, "Hey man, I don't want to tell you anything, but you spelled the name wrong on your album." I'm like, "No, it's actually a saying in English colloquialism, and it's spelled deserts, but it's pronounced desserts. It's really weird."
Wow.
Just
So,
to
okay. So desserts.
Yeah. So
Okay.
what it means is you get what you deserve, whether good or bad.
That's called life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is what it is, and how we handle it is how we handle it, right?
Right.
Wow, this album rocks. I mean,
Thank
it really does. And I love it because it's such a lot of Americana in there and it gets to the point. The storytelling, it makes you think, but at the same time gets to the point in your songs. You don't hold back.
Well, these were, I wrote these songs starting in probably 1992, and I've always
Mm,
been, as the promo would say, I've been a sideman to so many great
mm,
songwriters and so many great bands. And I've had a beautiful opportunity to do that. And I've always written songs on the side, which if I were to bring them to the band, they'd probably go, nah, we don't want to do that one. It's too, it's too dark, it's too this, it's too that. So I kept these songs and I demoed a bunch of them. And they were at serious times in my life. I mean,
mm.
there were some junctures where I was completely broken and down and out, and so that makes for great songwriting. So I kept those songs and thinking, nah, nobody's going to want to hear this. And plus,
I do.
as a songwriter, you always think, I don't want to bare my soul like that. I was always afraid to bare it, but now I'm like, I have to bear it. It's got to
Yeah,
come.
why not?
Why
I mean,
not?
and you've got some blues in there. You've got a lot of drive, a lot of I can't wait to drive with this. I love albums like this for the road. They're perfect. You know what I mean? Because it
Yeah,
gives each one a different like visual soundscape, if that makes sense, as you go. Like you kind of
but yeah,
it becomes a new story each time,
I
even though it's
probably
the story.
It's funny you should say that because the oldest song on the album is cut number two. It's called Where I've Been. And I actually wrote that on the
Mhm.
dashboard of my old Dodge van coming back from a gig up north with one piece of paper and one little pencil. And I'm driving down the highways, like this. And so that's a total driving song. But I totally understand what you're saying. And I probably assembled this record so that I could listen to it in my car because that's my favorite place to listen to. I
Me
love it.
too,
Yeah.
and as loud as possible. Just
We'll have to take a ride together.
yes, well, I think
And
we
crank
talked
it up.
about that last time. Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
that's the thing to me, and that's where you get, especially when we go across Texas. And I know we've talked about that Texas to me, and I'm like, all right, man, I need everything. I need all the tools in the bag for
Mhm.
Texas. And it's not like it's ugly or anything. It's just long.
Yeah.
And, it's just a very long trip, especially at the top part, the panhandle top. It's just like, okay, are we going to get there? And the last time we drove it, it was like a heat wave. And I'm like, man,
Oh,
are the tires? And people are pulling over with tires bursting. And I'm like, come on, little car, you can do it. But anyway, she's been through hell. But it's just you need it's like a food group. You need the right, you need the right, and music is like your medicine, it's your sustenance to
yeah.
get through these. But this album does. Tell us about 29 Women.
Well, that was I played in kind of like punk new wave bands, and I played in like blues
Hmm.
rockabilly bands, and I was always fascinated to combine the two styles because it's a very, I don't know if angry is the right word, but it's a very urgent,
Hmm.
desperate, serious motion. And playing in a lot of bar bands, what you had to have in your repertoire was not only good songs, but songs that had that rhythm to awaken
Hmm.
people. So
Yes.
I wanted to start it with that kind of thing. And but the song is lyrically, it's about the disgust, my disgust with war, and I understand why war has to happen. There's a lot of things behind it, but the fact that it has to happen and people have to die that have no interest in the cause whatsoever. Either they're in the military or they're part of the residual fallout when the bombs come. And my dad was a vet. I have great respect for vets and my freedom. I will hold doors for vets. I'll buy them lunch. But it's a shame that people have to die to get people's things resolved. So it's a song about the disgust of war. And I sing the chorus, I ain't gonna be your dog. So
Yeah,
in other words,
because
if I
hearing
were,
that's what I wanted to hear about. Because I just like, as soon as I heard that, 29 women, then you say 29 men too.
yeah,
And so I was like, "Well, I ain't gonna be your dog." I'm like, no, I ain't. I know.
right.
It's kind of
20,
anthemic.
29 women and 29 men went to
Hmm.
war and got shot dead. The people cried, we'll have no more of all this killing in your war. Now I'm standing in a stone fog. In other words, I can't see where I'm going.
Mm-mm,
I ain't gonna be your dog.
mm-mm.
It's a cloudy confusion when people have to die for one man's cause.
Yeah, and when I was sitting there thinking too, it's very timely, but then I go, when is a song like this not timely?
Right. Always war. People always
Unfortunately.
getting killed. Yeah.
We always, and it's we're still, I interviewed a gentleman who was up there in the Pentagon and in military and see like all the secret stuff, and he wrote a novel based on true experiences. It's becoming a movie and everything, and they actually had to go to the White House, and they had to be cleared through security for this novel to get out.
Wow.
And he wrote about the Cold War, which a lot of people forget about. And he said, really, if you look at the Cold War, it's one little war after another, all little battles. He says, but it is a big war. And he goes, when you look at everything that's happening now, he said it's the same war. We just sign peace treaties and then find a different way to still fight.
Right. And a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
decisions to fight and a lot of supplies are done behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
We get fed the news, and I'm sure there's a certain truth what we get fed. And I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but sometimes you have to wonder, what am
Mm-hmm.
I reading and where is the truth? I always
Yeah,
thought, find the truth, follow the money and find the truth.
mm-hmm.
But I just, if you've ever
It's
see, and
always follow the money.
right,
That is, and I think there's a website for that. There
probably.
is. There is
I,
followthemoney.org.
I have to tell you a story that inspired the song 29 Women and my anti-war rant. When I was in grade school, and I'll date myself here, I was at a friend's house and a little four-door dark blue Ford Fairlane pulled up to the house. Two guys got out in military uniforms, knocked on the door, and the guy's mother, who I was friends with, immediately knew what it was. She dropped to the floor crying on her hands and knees.
Mm.
They were there to hand the paper to her that her son had just stepped on a landmine in Vietnam.
Oh,
Here's your piece of paper, ma'am. And there we all were in the room. They left, and here we are. So
wow.
that made a big impact on a 10-year-old, you know. So I'll
That's
never forget
huge.
that day. Yeah, huge.
And how they did it, you know, and how when Vietnam happened, Hal Moore is a famous general in Vietnam, and the movie We Were Soldiers, We Were Once Soldiers, or We Were Soldiers Once with Mel Gibson tells his story, and he rescued people in a way that you know we weren't supposed to do, but became a hero, and rescued people from helicopter, which was amazing. His men and his wife, Julia Moore, she so they were, you know, the wives were all put into like, here's your the row of houses on military housing, and whenever a taxi came through, all the women would just know somebody's dead, right? And who was it? And
Yeah.
how they got handed exactly what you're saying. There was no support. And so she created a network, the very first spouse support network in the military from this, so
Wow.
that when the taxi was coming, that somebody would be there to be with the spouse, the wife of, so that she had support, that everyone took care of her and she wasn't alone. And because it would happen and people knew here's a taxi. So it was like before the taxi comes and you just get a letter
Hmm.
or something folded up, you know, that it was comforting. There was a comfort
Sure.
blanket there because it was exactly like you're saying. At that point is where it started to turn around. And, you know, there's no comfort,
No.
you know,
And
because it's a surprise, even though you know in the back, you know.
it's coming.
Yeah.
Could it be me, right? And
Yeah.
trauma takes on so many forms. And
Hmm.
as somebody pointed out to me, they said, your album's a lot about a lot of trauma. And I'm like, well, those are the things that incite good songwriting, the trauma of death, war, heartbreak,
Mm.
loneliness, confusion, all these things that, and that's why I never wanted to bare my soul, because a lot of it is pretty heavy.
Hmm.
But at a certain point, I dressed it up with really cool music. So it kind of
Well,
goes.
no, we've just done a series of shows with our friend Joey Stuckey about the power of music.
Ah,
And we made a song list because he survived. He had a brain tumor, and when they did the surgery, he was either going to be completely, you know, not able to walk or do things, you know, but have a beating heart basically and be able to breathe, or die kind of thing. Well,
yeah.
the surgery, what happens, he lost his sense of taste and smell.
Oh,
He still has a little bit of taste, a little bit, and he went blind. And so his parents said on September 29th, and now we're talking the day after,
yeah,
um, to celebrate this as your alive day, you've got to be thankful to be alive because you've
yeah,
still got so much to do on earth.
yeah.
And so it's like his birthday. And
Nice.
so we just had a celebration from him. But the week before, we said, well, let's make this music list of songs that celebrate being alive and inspiring and motivating. And by the time we were doing this playlist, and then we made 290 song playlist, like a
Wow.
290 song playlist, which is
Awesome.
insane. I haven't gone to sleep for a while, so just bear with me. But it was amazing because between him and some of the guests on our shows on this, it wasn't all music that, you know, makes you happy. It was a lot of us, we were talking about you actually need the songs that tackle it so that you can go through it to get to the other side.
Right.
You know, it's part of that medium of like, if you've been diagnosed with cancer and people ignore you because they don't want to say the C word or talk to you like they don't know what to say or do, right?
Yeah.
But if you ignore them, that's the worst thing. But let's actually just deal with it. It makes it a lot easier. So, music, like what you've put together, gives people a place to not feel alone in something traumatic in their life. I think it's very healing and inspiring. So I don't think it's a downer at all.
No, I know now that it's not. And
Hmm.
after I assembled it and Gary and I put it together, I thought, wow, wow, it's finally landed. I finally put it in a little box and it's
Mm.
out of the way now, it's done. But it was meaningful at that point. Before it was just scattered emotions. And as I would tell people in interviews, of being a child of World War II vet, and my mother, everything you come to her with a problem, she'd go, toughen up. And nobody talked about their feelings. So the only way to
Hmm.
get in touch with your feelings is to go off on your own in some really dark space. And, and then I see, the modern, it's very cliche to say this, but the modern youngins sit in front of their screens all day, their video consoles or their phones, and they're not going to the playground, hanging out with 15 people at the playground, beating the stuffings out of each other and, choking on sandlot dust and getting used to being around real people. How are they going to get in touch with their feelings? They do it through
And
music.
yeah, music is about it. And at the same time, if you don't have those real things, and I'm scared about it actually, because it's like, don't say this, don't do that. We're now everything's like walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
Whereas you kind of music and comedy, like I said, it's a food group. It
Yeah.
is.
Well, you are what you eat, right? You are what
Okay, I'm
you
a big treble clef.
eat. That's good. See, and the world needs more people like you. They
More treble
really
clefs.
do. Well, no, I
Yeah,
wish there could be a show every day. You could be every day you should be on the air on television, have a cable show and be
yeah,
talking about these
that'd be
things.
fun.
It needs to
Well,
be
it
heard. It
I
needs to
think
be
it's
heard.
important. Well, people are going through a lot of pain right now. There's a lot of trauma going on because of world wars, right? And if we don't think that that doesn't tie back to our American roots, right? You're wrong. Because look, we're all moving around. People are divided between over politics, right? They're arguing about political leaders that they don't even really know. Have they met them and hung out and had dinner with them? No. Are they your neighbor? No.
No,
But we're going to argue about them because of what we're fed, right?
right.
To do. Obviously, there's good and bad and all of it, and the like I look at it going, we need music just so that we can turn off the news. We need to replace the news. We need to know what's going on, and
Right.
I wish they could just distill it down to here's the facts, ma'am, nothing but the facts, ma'am, and then here's some music so you can process.
Well, if the truth were really the truth, then we
Are we
would have
back
a
to that?
much easier time figuring this all out because we're not stupid. We're very highly
Mm-hmm.
evolved, intelligent human beings, and we have so much. We have such a
Mm-hmm.
depth. But if we're getting different misaligned truths, then it's just a lot of
Mm-hmm.
confusion. And it,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't bode well for mankind. And I don't mean to be a doomsday person, but we just need the truth. And I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate when the truth comes forth. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully, but with AI, and then so I finally got on Facebook after all these years, and all of a sudden there's like all this weird stuff coming. I was like, is that real? Is that real? There
I know
was
it's weird. Do you want to do this with AI or not? And
I
now I'm just going to tell people, like, if I want to tell someone off, I'm just like, go AI, go AI yourself.
right.
I mean, really, it is weird, but I think we're going to go through a lot of weirdness to get to the other side. It's a whole new thing. But music like yours, I really appreciate your style of music, especially now where everything sounds so plasticky. I mean, everybody's getting these plasticky faces and tinny sounds, and I don't know, everything is being. I just like to hear real music. I just want to hear someone play a guitar and sing and have some good rhythm,
Yeah.
and I don't want it so over polished. That's what I think happened. Things got over polished, which can go to a tinny side. I don't know how to explain it. I
No,
don't I don't do all that, but all that stuff. But all I know is things start to sound unreal
yeah.
after a certain point.
Well, I know too much about the gear, and there are devices in recording that you can buy. They're, pitch correction. How about that? Say you're a singer and you can't sing on key if somebody had a gun to your head. Well, you just buy this little device and you run your voice through it and it goes right
Yeah,
up to pitch. And every single song you hear has got that nasally because it's
mhm.
it's correcting their bad pitch and nobody can sing. Well, I was singing in taverns since I was 14 years old. So guess what? I might be able to sing on pitch if you want me to, you know?
Yeah. It's called practice, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, practice. And so, it's like, yeah, I just want that. I want things, and I think we're slowly getting there. And in the music world of today, I'm hearing, the younger generation of music. I mean, look, if they're stealing everyone's samples from the past, right? So that tells you, hey, we need help. So
yeah.
and also they get to use famous music that people know from the past to make their song relevant. Like, I don't know, I think it's cool, but it's not cool. Like, why can't you just go write your song, right? There's
Right.
some, it's nice to carry a torch, like you've got all these different sounds that I know come from, so much cultivation from people before you in this craft, the blues, Americana, country, you got a little bit of everything. And that was something that comes from the past, but it's your song, your sound, your music, but
Yeah.
you're still carrying the torch for those sounds. Do you know what I mean? Instead of just taking someone's music and copying it.
I'm proud to be an organic music farmer.
Oh, I like that term.
I've cultivated this organically and used all the old time sources. No computer was used in the making of my music.
No AI generation.
No. All
Hmm.
this hand and this hand. Sorry, I'm holding my coffee cup.
Is there real coffee in there?
Yes. Here, I'll show
Here, have some coffee. Here,
you. Yeah, I know. A lot of guys would be drinking Jack Daniels in their coffee cups, right?
Exactly. Yes, yes. I normally have a cup, but today I have an empty glass of water since we're talking about deserts and desserts.
Desserts, just desserts. Yeah.
You can have dessert in the desert. That's interesting about that. But yeah,
Yeah.
no. But you doing this writing by hand where a lot of people are using their phone, I think that's fine. Everybody's got a new tool, right? But to create that sound, is it not easier to just do it? Like then create it's not it's just the recording it sounds live, it sounds like you're right there in the room listening to a live show and
Mhm.
real without it all being jacked up on different things.
Right.
So isn't it easier to record something like that than to do all these other things that happen in recordings? I don't know how to explain it where it's overly produced. That's what I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's what you're saying. And there
Yeah.
is a tendency to overproduce. In old time classical music, there was the style called what it was called Baroque, where
Mm-hmm.
they would just throw the kitchen sink at the
Mm-hmm.
composition. They would assemble do we have a
Mm-hmm.
tuba in the back there? Can you bring 50 violins? Can you do this? Can you do that? And they would just throw everything at it. Um, but and then there the extreme of that is minimalist.
Mm-hmm.
I used to go and see my friend. They had a two-piece band, bass guitar and drums.
Mm.
And that was the original Locate Your Lips. It was
Wow. Oh,
Kenny and
Locate Your Lips. You guys were so much fun.
thank you.
I
Yeah.
still love that music.
But they were a two-piece band.
Yeah.
And I went and I said, hey, you guys need a guitar. They said, we don't need a guitar. We're fine. A bass guitar and drums. This was 1980 when that wasn't cool, but they had it going on. So somewhere in between, a producer has to decide. And if this is cliche too, this is one thing I learned in Hollywood from Rick Derringer. I don't care how good you are, what you do, or what you play, or what you're bringing. Serve the song.
Mm.
Serve the song. The message in the song, the emotion, the feeling, make it happen. But not because you play great violin are we going to put violin on this song. It's not about you, man. It's about the song.
Or about, just because so and so had a solo, the other person needs a solo, and then everybody in
Yeah.
the band needs a solo.
I was in the studio cutting a record, and it was in the studio of Victor Di Lorenzo from the Violent Femmes,
Oh
and
yeah.
great friend of mine. And we had come to the part where I needed to play this blistering guitar solo.
Was
And
it Blister in the Sun? No, just
no, not on one of his songs. It was a different
okay.
band. And he looked at me, he goes, oh, was that the guitar solo? As if to say, here comes another one, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
so you hear it from a lot of people, and you learn to be offended. You learn the behavior of offense when somebody says something to you like, hey, that was a great idea, Jim. Save it for your record,
Yeah.
right? So you learn the etiquette of offense to survive in the music business.
Yeah. Yeah, right. That's why we have middle fingers too.
Oh,
Yeah. It's part of it. It's
yeah,
part of, well, but this is the other thing about the album and everything we're talking about is about, authenticity. And I think, over the years, as we've all talked, Nancy, you and I and Peggy, it's about authenticity in music and the sound. Like you said, this what served the song, let it be what it needs to be. And
right.
then when you're putting an album, you have to serve the album and each individual song and make sure the songs all have, are they friends next to each other, and make it like this permanent set list that people are going to listen to and you can't move once it's there. But
Yeah,
in AI, Spotify may move the order of your album because somebody listened to this song. Oh, you may prefer the song to be in this order, which I think is a little bit on the sad side. Or it sucks, but the authenticity of it, when you're talking about, these songs being written from the early 90s through, and it's a history. It's kind of like a history of your life, right?
yeah,
And that is also looking at the history of your life, but it's also going with giving the history of what was going on in those times, not just for you, but what was surrounding you. And so I always look at music telling the truth in history, and it's the truth of the human condition.
yes. You hit it right on the head. The human condition,
Mm.
and hopefully a
How does it feel? We
songwriter.
all have a condition.
You got a condition, Lisa.
I do. It's called the Lisa condition.
Well, you would hope as a songwriter that you could relate to somebody
Hmm.
with your feelings. And it's not like you're asking yourself as you're penning the lyrics to this broken down person, is this going to be relevant? Are people going to care? You're not thinking about that. And some of these songs just come out. There's a couple songs on this record, and Bob Dylan was quoted as saying this. They're like, Bob, how does a guy write 600 songs? He said, well, I don't write all of them. He says a bunch of them just come out of the air
Yeah.
and they're delivered to me. And I was fascinated by that saying until it actually happened to me. On a couple occasions,
Hmm.
lyrics and music out of nowhere. I had
Hmm.
to rush to get a pen and find a recorder to sing and play it into. Hour and a half, lyrics and music start to finish as fast as I could write and play it.
Wow.
Don't know where it came from. Seriously.
See, it just comes. Yeah. Which ones
Some
were
I worked,
those?
some I crafted, of course, but others were just divine
The
intervention.
gift.
I don't know.
The gift.
Well,
You know.
exactly. It was free. It's a gift. Somebody gave it to you.
It's like you've done so many songs. Here's your, because if we look at the cycle of numbers, right? Everything goes in a cycle.
Yeah.
Everything does. Life and death cycle, all of it. So once in a while, the casino machine gives you something back, even though you've kept putting in. It's like,
Huh.
here, you get $10 out of the 2000 you put in, you know? So that's the free gift, but it's because you put something in. I don't think you get a free gift if you didn't put anything in.
You've just reduced the great beyond to a casino machine, Lisa.
Sorry about
I
that.
no, I want to thank you for that. That's
Yeah,
good.
no, I kind of, well, I mean, I'm just putting it into, because, you don't need me to get all woo-woo-fied because I can do that, but I mean, if you just,
Uh,
it's the law. It's the natural law and
yeah,
order thing, I
absolutely.
think.
Great is the mystery of God. There's so much we don't see, and there's so much.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just dropped on us, and we're like, "What? What was
Mm.
that?" Yeah.
Which songs on the album were those for you?
Well, specifically, let me think. Christine, for sure.
Mm.
Um,
Wow.
that's a sad tale.
That's, yeah.
That's a sad tale. Somebody I
Mm.
knew hung around with the bands, sweet kid, got murdered in Nashville. When I
Mm.
found that out, when I got the news, boom, song came to me, lyrics and music. I can't sing this. I can't play this song out live. This is too maudlin or whatever. But you know what? I recorded it and
Mm.
it was meaningful. And it was at the point in my life where it had to come forth. So that was one of them. Well,
What?
I guess where I've
Mm.
been was another one. That one just,
Mhm.
it's hard to write a song on the dashboard of a Dodge van with bald tires in the middle of the night with a pen or with a pencil and a piece of paper, but you had to do it because if you didn't do it right then, it was gone.
Gone. Uh-huh.
It was a fleeting moment. So where I've been, the heartbroken guy leaving
That's
his girl.
channeling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
channel.
I wonder about these free gifts from the casino. If it's kind of like a second consciousness that we have. See, I'm going to go woo woo now. Why not? I mean, come on.
Please,
We're
please,
going everywhere today. We might as well. I mean, we're even
might
going
as
to a
well
desert for dessert or a dessert for a desert drink. I don't know.
go.
But if we have like a separate consciousness where you're running like it's a different part of us that's from the past and the present and the future. Like it's all in one where because we really don't understand time. If you think about it, we don't. If
No,
you're, I mean, when we always, I always go like, we're spinning right now. Isn't that freaking amazing that we're spinning
yeah,
around the sun right now? Unless, you want to talk about the flat earthers, but that would be an entire show where I just yell at everybody that believes in it. But the fact that we're spinning around that fast, how can we ever understand that concept of time and that,
right,
I mean, that quantity of movement, right?
right.
That fast. So, they talk about the speed of light. So I wonder about our consciousness, if there's this other part of us in our brain, our soul, whatever it is, that we don't know about, that sometimes, because we in life, all of us have had to wing things and just go on autopilot and it
Right.
and it happens, or we have synchronistic moments with other people and things,
Oh,
like you think about somebody and they call you, you know so I
sure.
wonder if there's this whole other life we're living, that things like these songs come through because maybe you're writing from a different perspective, but I mean, I know that sounds really weird, but why not? Sounds
No,
fun.
yes to everything, and yes, all the above. Yes, yes.
Sounds fun.
Well, if you could, it would be, well, would it be fun if you could tap into it at a regular basis at your own speed,
Yeah.
on your time? Uh,
Yeah.
it's mind blowing. If you're sitting outside, think about this. Infinity starts with everything above the top of your head.
Oh, good. You're going to go right here. I love this.
So, okay, I'll tell you another story. I've got 100 of these, and I don't claim to have any powers. I refuse to believe that I would have any power but to receive the gifts that I'm getting, right? From a
Hmm.
higher power. But the day after we buried my dad, I'm driving down the street, and I remember I'm just driving down the street, day after we buried my dad, right?
Hmm.
And I remember I was just having a memory of him when he taught me how to drive. I was 15 and we're going through an intersection. He goes, now, when you're going through a green light, never assume that the people coming at you from both sides that have the red light are going to stop. Might be a police chase, might be a guy that's drunk, might be a guy that doesn't see the light, and he's going to T-bone you and kill you, right? That's the first thing he taught me when I was driving. So I'm going down the street day after I buried my dad. I'm going, thinking of my dad, and I'm about to make a left turn through this intersection, and I hear this voice, look out, look
Yeah.
out. And I give you the chills, just this
Hmm.
whisper, look out. So I firmly planted my feet on the brakes, and I entered the intersection, and this big black Cadillac Escalade, shoo,
Wow.
3 feet in front of me.
Mm.
Then I give you the chills. True
That
story.
does give you a chill. That does. That
Where's
does.
that come from?
See,
The
it's,
great
I think we're
beyond.
all connected. We're all, well, we were moving. We used to live out in Joshua Tree area, talk about a dessert or a desert.
Yeah.
And we had taken care of all the neighborhood feral cats. And there were a lot of them. The people would dump dogs if, there was like cats. We took care of coyotes. I mean, it was kind of crazy, but we had all the cats and we
Coyotes. How
knew
cool.
we had them all. I mean, and they would hang out, the cats would hang out, even with the roadrunners on the roof when the coyotes came through. And they were, we did give the tripod one water and things like that. And, it's a harsh environment.
Yeah.
But we knew some of these cats were really elder and we're like, we need to be able to get them homes. And we had indoor cats that were also rescues. And there was you couldn't merge them. We were in this place of what can we do? And I try to take them to shelters. I try to get them homes. No one would take them because they're old and feral. And, they were stinky. And I had Mr. Pickles. We had Spray Bob, who was named Spray Bob for a reason. But he would come and sit and just purr and drool on me. And he was an elder, and he
I'm
did
starting
spray
to
one
get
of
a
my friends.
I'm starting to get a clear picture, Lisa, of who you
Uh,
really.
Okay, yes, yes. Spray
You take it
bobcats,
coyotes and okay, go.
animals, right? And by the way, Priscilla the sock monkey says hi.
Oh,
I should have
good.
brought her on the show. I didn't even
We
think.
should have.
I know, and she's over there. Anyway, the feral cats, I went from shelter to shelter to shelter. No one would take them because they looked like they had feline AIDS, feline leukemia AIDS thing.
Yeah,
So I take him to the vet, and yes, and they did tests on these last two that we had, and one they just basically ran out of tests. Even one was just inconclusive. And he looked at me, he said, "The best thing you can do for all the other cats out there and for themselves is you're gonna have to put them down." And I'm like,
yeah,
"Oh man." And so he says, "You can wait in the office, or do you want to be with us?" "No, I'm gonna hold these cats as they go." Of course, by the time I leave, I'm like a walking fountain of
yeah.
tears and snot and just ugly facing it. And I pulled over to get a bottle of bourbon and take it home. I remember going in there and going, "Please don't excuse me. I'm not a mess. I put animals down. I'm crying." So our car at that point had electrical wiring that was wonky because desert rats will chew your wires.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times the dashboard lights and everything didn't work. And once in a blue moon, if you went over a bump, you'd get that. As I went home, as I got to the driveway, all the lights came on in the car, all of them. And I went, "All right, I know." There, it was like a thank you.
Yeah.
And it was weird. But then we also fed the pigeons, and the pigeons would follow me in the car to the store when they knew we ran out of food and followed me back.
They fly behind the car.
Literally, they would be at the grocery store, see me, and then fly. And when I got there, they're waiting. I'm not kidding.
Please. I'm
This
gonna
is a
have to
very weird
interview.
conversation.
I
We
need to
went there.
interview you. We need to go deeper with Lise.
No, but the thing, but that's what I'm saying. There's another level, and I think that's where songs like this, the arts, because the arts are honest. It's going back to that integrity, authenticity.
Yeah.
So when artists, that's what I say is true art. True artists are doing it for real. And then there's artists who can do things who may be doing it for a paycheck. Good Lord, good luck for that kind of thing. You see what I mean? And there's marketing that always has to happen, right? There is business. It's still a career. It's still a business, right? But there's an authenticity that comes. And if you do things in an authentic way, that's when, and you're putting in, then it comes back around. And I think you are helping yourself, but you have extra help from this
Ah,
other
yeah.
side of
What a great
things
thought.
because you have other relationships from this other level of consciousness because humans have not got to the level of consciousness yet.
What a
But the
great thought.
arts are the portal for the consciousness.
What a great.
Wow. This is what happens when I drink water all day long. This is what happens. I get weird.
Did you fast today? Have you eaten?
No. But I'm
Well,
just
see,
saying
you're
it's
at a
just
higher
interesting.
level now because the food's not,
Yeah.
fermenting into your body and it's not slowing you down. So this is a great space. So thank you. That's
This is fun. This is fun. But I mean, when you're writing a song, obviously you're crafting, but so the other ones come to you, and then the ones you're crafting, you still have something that's inspiring it. No matter how you, when you think of it, what is it? That innate ability.
right. Well, yeah, of course it's life experiences, but again, I think about the song, uh, um, News for You.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? That's like I got news for you. Like
Yeah.
when I was listening, I was like, oh, this is gonna be. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
Ooh,
kind of like, I got news for you. So that
yeah.
could be the singer could be singing about, he could be singing to his addiction.
Mm,
You're driving, so I'm drinking. So
yeah.
by saying you're driving, you're in
Mm-hmm.
control. I'm not. Or it
Mm-hmm.
could be about a woman. You're driving, so I'm drinking. But I got news for you. I'm better
Mm-hmm.
than this. I know better than this. I can see through this. So it's kind of like a self-affirmation song.
That's interesting. I got it just because yeah, because it's the control thing.
Mhm.
Oh,
Here.
yeah. How much of this is also about like really understanding, oh, hello, sweetie. Oh, what a beautiful face. For those listening, Jim has the most amazing dog. Oh, well,
Yeah.
was there and
He's,
now gone.
yeah.
Well, I've got two dogs daydreaming next to me. One is
Right?
dreaming and doing little yelps, and the other one, well, it's getting delightfully scented in this room. So anyway, but
Okay.
but how hmm. So control, let's talk about that word and the songwriting process. Because if you're trying to control everything in the songwriting process, then don't you close down having that portal to get those other songs that just come through?
Yeah, the portal comes and goes, and you have to exercise so many tools that you have to write a song. So if you have an idea for like a great chorus, like in Down My Road, uh,
Hmm.
maybe we can try again to love somebody.
Mm.
Maybe we can try again to love somebody. So that comes to me. There's really three chords that fit together well. I've got this really neat melody, and that's all I have.
Hmm.
Now you have to assemble, now you have to call on not your higher dimension, but you have to call on clever. Okay, clever Jim, now what are you going to do? You got this great chorus and
I
you,
got news for you, Jim.
yeah. So now you have to write words around your
Mm,
really cool spiritual vibe. Now you have to
mm,
assemble a verse and okay, how do I tie this in? Where, it's like a little pathway you have to walk down
mm,
to arrive at the secret garden, and then boom, there's a secret garden. And then you have to walk away from the secret garden and then come back to the secret garden for the second chorus. So a certain degree of cleverness, which has nothing to do with what we were talking about before, because it's a very human thing. How can, our cleverness comes from how can we get over on people? Like I need more candy from little Johnny sitting next to me. So when he's not looking, I'm going to grab his candy bag so we need to be clever. And that's sometimes diabolical and borderline.
and fun. It's well, one of my favorite things that we do on our show is interview crime writers because I think it's like they have to create crimes and murders
Right.
and things in their stories and the creativity of that, and I always ask them if they listen to music, and some songs do turn them into writing murders.
Sure.
One lady I know murders her husbands in her books.
Right. I've often contend like why I used to think why did why did they write this stupid review or this stupid short story, and it's just weird and odd, but I'm thinking, well, it's like a job. They have to fill space with inky words.
Mm,
So they wake up in the morning, I don't feel creative, I'm not clever, I'm not getting anything from the other dimension, but I still have to write something to get paid, so they write stuff.
mm.
So there's a lot of that too. They would
Oh, and
call it
that's in every industry. I think
yeah,
that's with every industry.
baloney.
But sometimes, you look at that as being part of your practice. And then there's stuff that, I know people have written thinking, I don't like that, or I don't like that song, and it becomes the biggest song for them. Isn't that weird too?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You hear that. I think I just read about, was it Sting or somebody, maybe from the Police, they were saying, I hate that song, but it was our biggest hit. We made a ton of money, but I hate that song. Isn't that funny?
I know, but that's life, right? It's always because again, it's not in your control. Once you've created something too,
Yeah.
it goes off. So on the album, Just Desserts, just saying,
Thank you.
um, on the album, who was who did you record with? I know Gary Cannon, right? Yeah, you worked with him again. He's awesome. He's such a positive person. He
Oh my God.
really is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gary, yeah, he's unbelievably positive. When I first came to him with this collection, I said, Gary, I'm doing a vanity project. He goes, stop right there.
Oh.
This is not a vanity project, and he just like he slapped me up and he said, so yeah, he's very positive. Yeah, everything is very, and I really appreciate him as a friend. I've known him for a
Mm,
dog's age, and he's just great. And he played keyboards. And at first, me being a guitar player and not really playing in a lot of keyboard oriented bands, a few, I was very reluctant and I had a little trepidation. And when he first put keyboards on all the recordings, I went, oh, what did I do? Oh no, I hate it. I hate it. But when I started listening to him, like, wow, wow, he gave me the next dimension.
mm,
Instead of having like a garage band, he took
mm-hmm.
me to, like Genesis or the Beatles or the Great Beyond,
Adds
10cc.
warmth. and
Yeah,
warmth. Keys when they're done correctly add warmth.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. But a
Mm,
dimension too.
mm,
It's like that glide. It's like that sky
mhm.
glide if it's done right.
Man,
Plus,
we're really beaming up on this show today. This is fun.
beat me up, Lisa.
Yeah, right. We don't need seatbelts here either.
That's right. Yeah, and I
But
had,
so, yeah.
well, I had some old demos too laying around where I had recorded them. And so I had some old drummer friends of mine from a long time ago. And I thought, wait a minute, these drums sound great. I just have to sing it properly and re-record the guitars and make it better, make it.
Oh, okay, cool.
So some of the drums are like old drum
Mm-hmm.
recordings that I ran through some pretty sophisticated analog gear to get it to be, like punchy and world-class sound. But I'm pretty happy with it. It's better than I would have ever expected.
I like it. I like it a lot. I
Yeah.
really do. I can't wait. It's gonna be road tested.
Road trip.
Yes, yes. Well, I mean, we're on a permanent one, so I get a lot of music in because I'm so tired of regular radio, as we've all talked about before on these shows. I get a little bit, done with the same songs over and over and over and over again. And then I like to listen to albums and see them in different settings. And some albums, when you get to know them really well, like, ooh, I need this album for this area because I pretty much know this country pretty well in driving majority of it.
Mhm.
Still a lot of places still to go, but you start to go, okay, this album for here and this album for that. It's like it, it's a thing. And
Lock
yeah,
and load.
this is a Texas album.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I
Well, that
just
means,
got that
but
record.
that you need that's when you need the superfood, right? When we talk
Yeah,
about the food source, the whole thing. So you've got to be in the superfoods for Texas. And
yeah.
that's how I look at music.
No, I can see it. And again, I really enjoy driving and listening to music. Sometimes when I look at used cars, I'm kind of a used car freak. I'll buy a used car just because it has a good stereo.
Oh yeah. That's why I won't get rid of our car. She's up there in age, but not really. Well, she is. She's a good girl. Um, she's full of tar on the on the outside
What
because
is it?
thank you, Illinois. A RAV4,
Oh
and
yeah.
she's over the 250 something thousand miles, which isn't
What
bad.
year?
2010. So she's young,
Oh,
right?
guess what I have in the garage?
What?
A 2010 RAV4.
See, they're good cars.
The stereo is amazing.
Yeah, and so I won't get rid of her because she has a CD player. And
Hello.
and she isn't gigged up to all the, I can't stream your music or anything, and I haven't done all that because I kind of like this way. And so the fact that she has tar stuck to the sides, that's because we drove through wet tar and we had no choice. And right now, the undercarriage, the plastic thing that goes under it, is about to fall off. So I'm dragging her around with this, which is freaking people out. And I go, yes, I'm a clampet. No, as I drive around, but that's because we just escaped a different hurricane and hit potholes really bad on our way out of New Orleans. But
You can order
yeah.
the little plastic push-in clips to hold that pan up. You can order them on eBay. It's a very common item.
And when you do that, get just desserts.
That's right.
Get your
Oh,
clamps and your music all in one place. I didn't know that actually. So that's all it came out. Okay, because we've dragged things under the car. We've been through tornado stuff, tornado alleys in some areas in Mississippi. That was another year. And we've been in ice in places we shouldn't be. So she's
how are
just
you
kind of
now?
looking at me. Right now we're in Florida.
Oh my gosh, great place to be.
Yes. Yes. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, actually. We were very lucky. We escaped another hurricane. But our friends up in Asheville, North Carolina, as we air this, everyone, please do what you can to support everyone in Asheville. It's a
Yeah.
traumatic situation and difficult, just a difficult time as we air this. So please do what you can. Do support the community, the artist community, the tourism community that will really need you. So
Yeah. Amen.
very sad.
Asheville.
Hmm.
Send them truckloads of stuff. They need it.
Well, as we record right now, people I know are trapped and no
Their
supplies can get
I-40
in.
is washed out.
Hmm.
The Interstate's
I
one, you
know.
can't get in there.
and we don't even know how we're supposed to be going there. So anyway, we don't know where we're going after here. So, I don't know. Anyway, there's a road trip coming somewhere. But Jim, it's so good to have you back on the show. You and Peggy have to come back. We have to have a party with you guys. We'll have fun. We'll have to have a
Well,
music party.
thank you. I've got another album of hers in the can that I'm going to mix this fall,
Cool.
winter.
Oh, cool.
We've got it all recorded and it sounds awesome. So she's like, you got to mix my record. I said, well, honey, you've had 4. This is 5. I got to have my one.
Yeah, well, but she likes to do things over winter, doesn't? That's kind of her space to do it.
Well, it's a
I
good
know.
time to hole up in the studio.
Yeah, right.
When it's nice out, if you're a Wisconsinite, you have to take every minute outside you can.
Absolutely.
No,
Absolutely. I mean, we've done your winters, we've done your springs, and no, no. But I
no.
do know how to shovel snow now. I'm very good at it. And I do know how to drive on roads I shouldn't. And I've now driven through an ice storm. And in fact, we were in Oregon this year and went through 2 ice storms and snow blizzards. I've now done mountain passes in snow blizzards at night with trucks. And so,
You're going to get a badge and a plaque.
yes, that's why I say my car means everything. Her name is Mulva Cleopatra Doppelganger. And this car is like the best car. And you will never, I don't think, I don't know, you can replace engines. So there you go.
Tell me she's not silver.
No, she's gold.
Oh, okay. I have silver.
So she'd get along with yours. What is yours name? What is it, a boy or a girl? Or, oh, we shouldn't gender identify cars. Um, I'm just,
She's in transition at this point.
well, see, ours have always been a little bit of everything because you
Ah,
never know. Yeah,
and androgynously cloudy
yes, because you
as a
never know what skill she wants or he wants to pull out at
right.
any time. So it's always been and today she's Malva, and she's happy about that. But do you give your car a name?
There's a car. We do really stupid names. Like we've got an old Camry that's the color red, so we named her Red. What are you taking
Big
there? I'm
Red,
taking Red.
Big Red.
Yeah. So yeah, stupid things like that. Nothing cool. Not
We
like
we
your
had
name. That's
we had a red Camry, and it didn't. We went and I'm not good at cars, so I was in a truck for a long time, like that kind of style car, and then I was like, no, we need to not do this. I can't do that. But we did name her, and her name was Cherry Bomb.
Cherry Bomb. Did
Hmm.
you have the V6?
No,
The 4. Oh,
and
the
she
Camry,
should have. She should have.
Camry with the V6, you can light that thing up. It's fast.
Toyotas are fantastic. They last forever. And
Yeah.
that's, same as the Honda. The Honda was the one we had, a Honda Element we called Honky Bonky. And no, that wasn't, that was no, Honky Bonky was a white Forerunner that we had.
Oh,
But that was Honky Bonky. And and then the Honda Element was Paddy Wagon.
did any white people take offense to that name?
No, but it came from a conversation from the gentleman who we bought the car from at a dealership, and he was African American. And I don't know what conversation we had, but I just turned to him and said, "Well, that's it. I'm calling this Honky Bonky." And so we nicknamed
It's
and Honky
politically
Bonky.
incorrect.
Well, we all thought, well, we were having a politically incorrect but mutually respected, like it wasn't anything mean at all. It was something like, let's just get beyond all this stuff, right? And except for each other. And I don't know, it was a very fun conversation. And so I just said, well, then we're just gonna call him it's Honky Bonky, and he was a boy. But anyway, yeah, this has been fun.
Yeah, we have to do this every day now.
Yes,
There's
I
so much
know.
more to talk about.
I know, car names, beaming up. It's all good. It's all
Yeah, yeah,
good.
good.
Well, listen, you take care, and we'll talk when Peggy's album is out, right? Come back on. We'll have some fun and
Yeah, I have
all
Gary
that good
come and
stuff.
we'll get back on. That'd be great.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, you guys take care, stay safe, and enjoy the rest of the sunshine while you have it.
Same to you. Good luck to you. Say hi to your ma.
I will. Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
I should have loved you better, but I didn't know